Today we're making some Mongolian chicken. And if you want the recipe for the shrimp fried rice, it's in my last video. But to begin, you want to thinly slice and cube 3 chicken breasts. Add your sliced chicken to a plastic bag with just enough cornstarch to coat your chicken. In about an inch of vegetable oil, cook your chicken for about 4 minutes on each side. Now in a large pan, you want to saute about 6 minced garlic cloves in some sesame oil. Saute for about 3 minutes. Then add in half a cup of water, soy sauce, and brown sugar. Once it comes to a simmer, you want to mix about 2 teaspoons of cornstarch in about 2 tablespoons of cold water and then add it to your mixture. Season with a teaspoon of black pepper, garlic powder, ginger, and crushed red pepper flakes. Add in your chicken as well as some chopped scallions. Mix everything together well, and you're done. Today we're making seafood mac and cheese. You want to start off with bringing 4 cups of heavy cream to a simmer on stovetop. While that's chilling on low to medium heat, you want to saute your garlic. So in a large saucepan, you want to add 8 tablespoons of butter, about 6 to 10 cloves of minced garlic. Saute for about 4 minutes, then add in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Continue to cook for another 3 minutes. Now you want to add in your simmered heavy cream and all of your cheeses, your spices as well, and I'll have all the ingredients listed on the screen for you guys. Now for our seafood ingredients, I use shrimp as well as imitation crab. The amount of each is really up to you and how much you want in your pasta, but here I added 5 tablespoons of melted butter, Old Bay seasoning, and dill. You want to mix your boiled pasta and your seafood into your cheese. Then add your first layer of pasta into your baking dish, a layer of cheese, and then your last layer of pasta. Finish off with more cheese and shrimp if you'd like. Bake at 350 or broil until your cheese is nice and melted, and we're done. Here's everything that I made in my kitchen for the month of December. I made some birria queso tacos, honey butter fried chicken sandwiches, buffalo chicken mac and cheese, my favorite comfort food of all time, some rice pudding, some beef empanadas as well as some savory pull-apart rolls. This salted caramel eggnog was amazing. Korean cream cheese garlic bread as well as the Starbucks banana bread. Churros with homemade chocolate sauce, homemade pita bread, and I made arrayas out of them. Salted caramel chocolate chip and pretzel cookies. If you haven't tried this recipe yet, you have to, they came out amazing. Here are some homemade churro waffles and chocolate sauce. Buffalo chicken egg rolls. These delicious fluffy butter rolls. Shrimp fried rice and Mongolian chicken. These twisted pretzels with homemade cheese sauce. This buttery and fluffy milk bread. I also made some Copycat King's Hawaiian rolls. Salted peanut butter cup chocolate chip cookies, as well as chicken empanadas, seafood mac and cheese, and avocado ranch. And I can't wait to create more recipes for you guys next month. Today we're making creamy Cajun shrimp pasta and homemade bread bowls. You want to begin with sauteing 1 small minced onion and about 6 minced garlic cloves in some olive oil for about 4 minutes. Add 4 tablespoons of butter and let that melt in. Then 2 cups of heavy cream and 4 ounces of cream cheese. Let the cream cheese melt in, then add a cup of Parmesan, some parsley, as well as all of the seasonings that I have displayed on the screen for you guys. Make sure to give it a taste and see if you'd like to add any more of whatever seasoning. Let it come to a simmer, then add in your choice of pasta, some cooked shrimp, and 1/4 cup of pasta water. Serve with your bread bowls, and you're done. Today we're making this delicious garlic and herb cheese bread. You want to begin by adding all of the ingredients that I have displayed on the screen for you guys. Mix everything together, then cover with a clean towel and let it rest for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add in the rest of your ingredients. You want to knead your dough for about 10 to 15 minutes, then add it to a floured surface. I created about 15 dough balls, then rolled them out. Here I have a 1/3 cup of olive oil and a tablespoon of garlic powder, and I brushed that onto my bread. Add your cheese, red pepper flakes, and parsley. Bake at 350 for 15 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making these buttery garlic herb knots. You want to begin with 2 cups of warm water, 2 tablespoons active dry yeast, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of powdered milk, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Cover with a clean towel and let it rest for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add in 3 more cups of all-purpose flour, half a cup olive oil, 2 teaspoons salt, and a tablespoon of thyme and sesame seeds. Knead your dough for 10 minutes, then add it to a floured surface. Pat it down gently, then cut into strips, and then cut those strips in half. You want to roll them out and tie them very gently. The less you play with them, the better they'll come out. Add them to a prepared baking dish and brush on some egg wash. Bake at 350 for about 20 minutes or until golden. Brush on your garlic butter, and you're done. Today we're making the Popeye spicy chicken sandwich, but healthier. We're going to be air frying our chicken, and I also made homemade whole wheat buns. So to begin, you want to marinate your chicken for a couple hours. Overnight is preferred. In a clean bowl, you want to add 1 cup of flour, as well as all of the seasonings that I have displayed on the screen for you guys. Mix all of that together, then get started on your buttermilk mixture. You want to add everything that we used for our marinade plus 1 egg. We're going to take our chicken thighs out of our marinade and straight into our flour. Then from our flour into our buttermilk. And we're going to repeat one more time just to ensure our chicken is nice and crispy. And this is very important, you want to let your chicken rest on a rack for 10 minutes before you fry them. Line your air fryer with some parchment paper. Spray some cooking oil and air fry your chicken at 395 for 10 minutes on each side. And there you go. I partnered up with Gymshark to show you that you can make your favorite foods at home and still live a healthy lifestyle. And if you want the recipe for the buns, I'll be posting it later this week. Today we're making these delicious and satisfying coffee buns. It's pretty much your standard bun recipe, but it's coated in coffee cookie dough. So you want to begin with 1 cup of warm milk, a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon and a half of yeast, mix and set aside for 10 minutes. Add all of your ingredients into your mixer and add your yeast mixture in last. You want to knead your dough for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add your dough to an oiled bowl, cover, and let it rest for 1 hour. While my dough was resting, I went ahead and made my coffee cookie dough topping. I'll have all the ingredients on the screen for you guys, but I went ahead and added it to a piping bag. After 1 hour, you want to separate your dough into 9 dough balls. Take one of your dough balls and roll it out. Cut it into 9 pieces, and we're going to stuff each one with a half a tablespoon of butter. Now for the rest of your 8 dough balls, you want to stuff it with your little butter pouch. Form them back into a ball and add them to a prepared baking sheet. Cover and let it rest for another 45 minutes. Swirl on your coffee topping about halfway down. Bake at 365 for about 15 to 18 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making honey teriyaki chicken tenders. You want to begin by grabbing a clean bowl and adding 1 cup of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of cornstarch and a teaspoon of baking soda, as well as a tablespoon of onion powder, garlic powder, thyme, and paprika, a teaspoon of salt and black pepper, and a 4th teaspoon of cayenne. In a separate bowl, add 1 cup of buttermilk, 1 egg, and a teaspoon of salt, black pepper, and garlic powder. Dip your chicken into your buttermilk and then into your flour. We're going to repeat one more time just to ensure your chicken is nice and crispy. Fry your chicken on low to medium heat for about 6 minutes. Here I'm putting together the honey teriyaki sauce. I'll have all the ingredients on the screen for you guys. You want to stir everything together well, then bring it to a simmer on stovetop. Coat your chicken tenders in your teriyaki sauce. Plate and garnish however you'd like, and you're done. Here's everything that I've made in my kitchen for the month of January. I've made some everything bagel cheese bombs as well as garlic bread cheese bombs, the perfect chocolate chip cookies, garlic and herb cheese bread, which is my all-time favorite. I just started a Korean lunchbox cake series. Here are some honey teriyaki chicken tenders, as well as the perfect snickerdoodles, coffee buns, which basically have like a coffee cookie dough baked on top of the bread, an air-fried version of the Popeyes chicken sandwich with homemade whole wheat buns, buttery herb garlic knots, cinnamon sugar bagel bites, as well as some everything bagel seasoning bagel bites as well. I made some homemade bread bowls with creamy Cajun shrimp pasta, some crispy smashed potatoes with homemade chipotle mayo. I showed you guys how to make chipotle cilantro lime rice, this matcha milk bread loaf which came out so beautiful, the Popeye spicy chicken sandwich with homemade buns, spicy coconut curry ramen, as well as some sweet chili glazed salmon. I showed you guys how I make my everyday oatmeal, as well as these Nutella stuffed M&M and chocolate chip cookies. And lastly, I made this dinner for my fiance. Today we're making cookie butter stuffed chocolate chip cookies. You want to begin with 1 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of sugar, and 1 stick of cold unsalted butter chopped. Beat your butter and sugar together for 5 to 10 minutes, then add in 2 eggs, 1 at a time, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of milk. Then add all of your dry ingredients. I'll have everything on the screen for you guys. Mix together well, then roll into balls. We're going to stuff them with frozen cookie butter balls and roll them back up. Add more Biscoff cookies on top, then bake them at 350 for 20 minutes. And you're done. Today we're making mozzarella stuffed pretzel buns. These were so satisfying to make, and I can't wait for you guys to try them. You want to begin with 1.5 cups of warm water, 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, and a tablespoon of sugar, and mix and set aside for 10 minutes. Here I'm adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 tablespoons melted unsalted butter, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and after 10 minutes add your yeast mixture in last. Knead your dough for 10 minutes, then add it to an oiled bowl, cover, and let it rest for 1 hour. After 1 hour, you want to create 8 dough balls. Stuff each one with mozzarella cheese and make sure to pinch them close tightly. You don't want them to open up when we boil them. Let them rest for another 10 minutes, then we're going to boil them for 30 seconds on each side in a pot of water and 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Add to a prepared baking sheet and add a generous amount of kosher salt. Bake at 400 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making shish tavuk, or otherwise known as chicken kebabs. It's fairly simple to make, so this is how you make it. You want to begin with 5 pounds of chicken breast cut into cubes. Add 1 cup of vegetable oil and 10 minced garlic cloves, 4 teaspoons of nutmeg and the juice of 2 lemons, a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of cardamom, a tablespoon of paprika and black pepper, a tablespoon of mixed spice, you can find it in your local Middle Eastern market, a tablespoon of oregano, and 3 tablespoons of mustard and red pepper paste. Cover with plastic wrap and let it marinate for at least 2 hours. Overnight is preferred. Then you want to alternate between your chicken, onions, tomatoes, and bell peppers on your skewer. Cook on medium heat and keep rotating your skewers so that they cook evenly. Serve and plate however you'd like, and you're done. Today we're making the juiciest sweet and sour chicken tenders. This is one of my favorite dinners to make, so I wanted to show you guys how I make it. You want to begin with about 15 chicken tenders, 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, baking powder, and sugar, and 1 1/3 cups of water. Go ahead and fry your chicken. For our sauce, I have 1.5 cups of sugar, a half a cup of ketchup, 1 cup of vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Allow your sauce to come to a simmer, coat your chicken, and you're done. Today we're making a Korean lunchbox cake. I'm really happy with how this cake turned out, so here's a little behind the scenes of how I put it together. To begin, I already had my cake layers and buttercream prepared for the video. I added my first layer of cake and smoothed out a layer of buttercream. I added my second layer, then smoothed out my crumb coat, and I set it in the freezer to firm up before I finished off with my final coat. After I smoothed out my buttercream, I went ahead and piped on some designs. I piped on some rosettes in about 3 different colors and added some leaves. And then I finished off with piping on Be Mine, and I was done. Here's everything that I've made in my kitchen this week. My favorite thing I've made this week has to be these cookie butter stuffed chocolate chip cookies. Here's some spicy peanut noodles with chicken. And these mozzarella stuffed pretzel buns, and the cheese pull on these made me so happy. I also made some shish tawuk, otherwise known as chicken kebabs, and I served it with rice and garlic sauce. Here's some sweet and sour chicken tenders. And lastly, I posted episode 2 for my cake series. All the recipes are on my page for you guys, and I can't wait for next week. Today we're making kras, also known as cheese pies, and they're so satisfying to make. You want to begin with 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of dry milk, and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Lastly, add 2 cups of warm water, mix, and cover for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, add in 3 more cups of all-purpose flour, a half a cup of olive oil, and a teaspoon and a half of salt. You want to knead your dough for 10 minutes, then add it to an oiled surface, and you should be able to create about 10 to 14 dough balls. For our filling, I have about 4 cups of mozzarella cheese, 2 cups of feta cheese, as much freshly chopped parsley as your heart desires, a tablespoon of black seeds, 1 small onion grated, as well as 1 egg. Mix together, then you want to roll out your dough. Add your filling, and then you want to slightly stretch out the corners of your dough and bring it to the center, basically creating a triangle. Pinch your seams together very well because you don't want your cheese to explode out. Brush on some egg wash and bake at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, and you're done. Today we're making homemade matcha bagels. I wish there was a way for you guys to try them through the screen because they came out so good. But to begin, you need 2 1/4 cups of warm water, 1.5 tablespoons of active dry yeast, a tablespoon of sugar, mix and set aside for 10 minutes. Here I have 5.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of matcha, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. After 10 minutes, add in your yeast mixture in last, and you want to knead your dough for 10 minutes. Add your dough to a floured surface, and you want to create about 8 to 10 dough balls. Cover and let them rest for 5 minutes. Now you want to create your bagel shape, and the less you mess with them, the better they'll come out. So create your shape, set them down, and let them rest for another 30 minutes. Here I have a pot of water and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Fill your bagels for 30 seconds on each side and add them to a prepared baking sheet. Brush with your egg wash and top with your everything bagel seasoning. Bake at 395 for 10 minutes, then cover with foil and bake for another 15 minutes. And you're done.